Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Women's of Particular Age podcast. This is our episode 2, where we talk about women's views, life lessons, and other sugar honey iced tea. I am your host, Tara Jolly, and this is my co host, Heather Mola. Hi, Heather. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing great, Tara. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. For everyone that doesn't know, yesterday my father passed away. And I know probably people didn't think that I was going to go ahead and record this week, but if my parents were here, they would allow me to go ahead and do so. My family, right now, we're having a rough time, but we do thank everybody for all their prayers, their emails, their phone calls, and all their well wishes. So I do appreciate everybody for that. Okay. So listen, let's go ahead. Let's get started. But you know what we do before we get started, Heather, right?
Yes, I did. Cheers.
All righty. Cheers. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So today, folks, what we figured that we wanted to talk about some contrast between what happened when we were kids to high school age to what's going on now. So I know some of the contrast that we thought we wanted to talk about was maybe like from first grade to sixth grade. Now I don't know about you, Heather, but during that time, there was a lot of activities out I was involved in. I was involved in after school programs, after school activities like drill team, chorus, track. I mean, I even was on the track team for a little while. Not even just at this time, but in junior high school. What about you, Heather?
Well, I went to Catholic school, so it was a little
Okay.
different. Our grade school was from first grade to eighth grade.
Okay.
And we had things like for the girls, we had campfire girls.
Wow.
In choir, I was in choir also. I was in campfire girls, which was a lot of fun because it was a lot of my classmates.
Okay.
And but we really didn't have a lot of other things going on after school. Like maybe we're in a public school, there might be
Because
more
we're the
things
heathens. We're the
available.
heathens out here. We're out here doing the stuff we don't have any business while you're in Catholic school, getting a good education.
Right. Girl, yeah, yeah. Going to church every day, religion every
Exactly,
day.
exactly, exactly. And that's funny
Yeah.
that you say that because Heather, my mother and my father actually wanted me to go to school. There's a school that's called Village Christian, and they wanted me to go to that school. And at first, I was really excited. I wanted to, but then I thought about it and I was like, oh man, I still kind of want to do some of the stuff that everybody else does. So I elected not to, but they were going to pay for it. So hey, I don't know if it's my loss or not, but it is what it is. So, well, but so listen, well, for me, since I know that you didn't do some of that
Yeah.
stuff, there's a lot of things that I did. Now, I know that there's things that we did do together, which are after school cartoons. So I know that we both did that.
Oh
Now, some
yes.
of my
Oh
favorite
yes.
cartoons
Oh
was
yes.
He-Man, there was Voltron, there was Transformers, the Thundercats, the Silverhawks, and DuckTales. Now tell me some of yours.
Well, let's see. So I had we had what is it? The Jetsons. I had Josie and the Pussycats. Fat Albert. Um, there was Speed Racer, which I was not a fan of, but my brother had to watch it every
I
day.
love Speed
And then,
Racer. It's my favorite.
yeah, he really liked it. And then right after that show was always Kimba the White Lion, which I liked that one. So there was a compromise. He got to watch a speed
Okay.
race, and I got to watch Kimba,
Okay.
the White Lion. And oh, there was another little cartoon, Captain Caveman. You remember
Yeah.
that one?
Captain Caveman.
Yes.
I remember him. I
And
remember Captain Caveman.
and there was this other show called Hobo Kelly, and I don't know
Okay.
if you're familiar with that, but she was
No, I'm not familiar with
it
that.
was
Heather, wait a
yeah, she
minute. I
dressed
hear something. Is something going on with your mic?
no, it's my
Okay, because I hear something rubbing back and forth.
no. It's me
Okay. All right. I just
because
want to
I
make sure.
confused.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so no, and that show was she would have cartoons on that show, but then she also like celebrated people could send in postcards and then she would wish everybody a happy birthday, on the TV
Oh
show.
wow.
And yeah, and then you could when you send in the postcards, she would have every day like a prize. Like she had this machine that had prizes in it, and she'd crank
Yes.
the machine on the side and kick it, and then toys came out, and somebody would win these toys. So
You know what that reminds
that
me of
was
when you're a little kid and you go to Chuck E. Cheese and you put the little
yeah,
you put your token in and you get to see what little furry toy you're going to get out of the machine.
yes, exactly. So that was always a lot of fun. And after school, yeah, I
Mhm.
know we're talking about cartoons, and there's so many of them. Oh, Hong Kong
Yes.
Phooey, the dog.
Man, Mr.
Hong
Chicky
Kong
Chow,
Phooey.
Chicky Chow.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, that was
yes, Hong
cool.
Kong Fooey.
Yes, and Pink
Yes, that was one of my
Panther.
favorites. I loved Hong Kong Fooey.
Yeah, Pink Panther was cool. Flintstones. I
Yes, the
love the
Flintstones for
Flintstones.
sure.
I used to
Okay,
love
all right.
watching Inspector Gadget.
Yes, Inspector Gadget was funny. He would come up with all these crazy songs. Go, Gadget, go.
Yes,
I loved
yes,
Inspector Gadget.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
tell me this.
Now I
What
used
about
to
on
watch.
Saturdays? What
Oh,
about on
on
Saturdays?
Saturdays. Oh my gosh. Yes, on Saturdays I used to like to watch HR Puffin Stuff
Okay.
with Fred. Yeah, Freddie the flute. It was a little animated flute that would
Uh-huh.
talk, and the main character was a little boy named Jimmy. He was like a
Okay.
preteen, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was like a evil witch called Witchy Poo that was always
Witchy
trying to,
Poo. Now,
she
Witchy
was
Poo,
trying to
I'm very
steal
familiar with.
Freddie the flute. She's trying to
Okay.
steal Freddie the flute. She was always, enamored with having, Freddie the flute. So there was always drama with, her trying to steal the little flute. I just thought the flute was so cute. It was a cute character.
Now, listen,
and yeah,
my Saturday morning cartoons, they consisted of, I would say the Looney Tunes like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck,
oh,
etc. Something
mhm.
like that. But one of my favorite ones is Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition, and the greatest earthquake ever known. Girl, I used to love Chaka. Chaka want cookie. Chaka's your friend. Oh my God. Girl, Chaka
I
was my
remember that. Oh
girl.
my god, that's so hilarious. And the way you say it. Yes,
Listen,
yeah, with the teeth.
okay.
Yes,
So I liked Land of the Lost. Of course, I liked Scooby Doo. I was a fan of Johnny Quest.
yes.
I love Johnny Quest. I used to laugh about Johnny
Oh yeah,
Quest because
yes,
Johnny Quest was really good with Haji, with his little Indian friend, and Haji could make
yes,
the snake, or he had a flute, and he could
yeah.
do all these magical things. I loved Haji, but one of my most
Mhm.
favorite ones was the old Spider Man. Spider Man, Spider Man does whatever a spider can. That was my favorite. Spider Man would get into these fights, and he'd get hit in the head,
Yeah.
bonk him in the head. Oh, I used to love it. Him and the Rhino and all these characters. Oh God, Saturday morning cartoons were
Oh my
great.
god.
They were always the best. They were always the best. But now listen. Now it wasn't just the cartoons for us now. I know that there were other things that
No.
we watched. Now I don't know about you, but also too,
Hmm.
I used to like to watch American Bandstand and Soul Train because those used
Oh
to come on weekend
yes.
too.
Oh yes. Because you hear all the hippest, newest music, the newest dance moves. Everybody's
Correct.
dressed all
That's
cool in the
right. That's
newest
right. And listen,
fashions.
these kids don't got that now. They don't have that like how we used to have it on
Mhm.
the Saturday morning. Because American
Yes.
Bandstand came on first, okay, with Dick Clark, and
Yes.
then you had Don Cornelius with Soul Train. Soul Train came on from
Hmm.
11. It's always an hour, 11 to 12. Okay, girl, I knew all the times to each one of this stuff. Okay,
Yes.
I do all of the
And they had
time.
the and they had all the entertainers on them singing those hit
Yes,
songs, and it was
yes,
like a
yes.
good time, like just you'd get up and start moving and dancing too. I mean, it was like a
And
good
just know
time.
this: when we were kids, we looked forward to the weekend because we knew the cartoons were going to come on
Yeah.
at 7 and they were going to last for
Yes.
hours until around
Yes.
10. I would say around 10, from 7 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
You listen, you got up
Yes.
early. Sometimes you didn't brush your teeth and you got right in front of that television and you made sure you got all the
That's right.
cartoons. Okay? All right. So
Yep.
listen. All
Sometimes
right,
I
so
grab a
let's
bowl
talk
of
about.
cereal and get ready.
Yeah, listen. You're most definitely right. We did used to have a bowl of cereal, sit in front of the television,
Hmm.
scooping it up, and look at watching
Oh
our
yeah.
favorite shows. Watching our favorite shows. All right.
Yes.
So listen. What about from 7 to 9th grade? How was it from 7 to 9th grade? I know you was probably still in Catholic school, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Still in Catholic school. So, and it was very
Okay.
small. You have to understand each class had maybe like 33, 30, 32 students a class for each
Wow.
grade. So that's how
Okay.
small the school was. Mhm.
Okay.
We had to wear uniforms. Every day we
Yes.
went out, had to salute the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance. We would say
Mm-hmm.
prayers. We all have to march out. We line up. We do that. Then when we're done, we march back in our room, and then we start school. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what, Heather?
So
Isn't that
yeah.
funny? You remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were in school and we all used to do the Pledge of Allegiance? I don't even know if they do that now, and they've
That's
actually
what. Yeah.
changed
I
it since
wanted.
we were in school.
Yes, I
They,
wanted. I wanted to bring that up because it changed. hmm It did change. No more of that, and
yeah, and no
mixed
more prayer in school
emotions and
either.
all the different opinions. Yeah, about that.
Correct. And yeah, they for sure took out prayer in school. They for sure did that. They did that for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Well, let me tell you,
hmm
once I got to high school for me was fun because at lunchtime and after school, we used to have dances where you would buy a little ticket. Because I used to go to Kennedy
Yeah.
High School, which is up in Granada Hills, here in the valley,
Okay.
and we used to have lunchtime dances and after school dances. And the wonderful thing about that was when we had after school dances, if you signed up, they would arrange for a bus
hmm
to drop you off at your bus stop after the dance.
Oh,
So your parents
nice.
didn't even have to pick you up
Okay.
unless they just wanted to pick you up at the bus stop. So we had safety precautions
Right.
like that. We
Right.
also had, of course, after school sports. I mean, basketball, football, track. I'm pretty sure you guys had sports at Catholic school, correct?
Yes. So really, the sports stuff came in high school, and that's where it got real big. I
Okay.
mean, you got to change classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
In elementary school, first through eighth, you didn't change classrooms.
Yes.
I mean, the only classroom we would really change. Well, obviously, we went outside for PE, and then we did
Yeah.
have a music class. We always had a music
Okay.
class like once a week, and
Okay.
as you got older, maybe we would change one class like for math or something. But that was it. We stayed with the same group of people. So when I went to high school, it was kind of a little shock because it was a lot of people. Now it was not only the 32 people from my class, but now there's all these other people and switching
Did you
of
go to regular high
classes.
school?
I know I went to Catholic high school.
Okay.
So it was bigger though. It was Bellarmine over here, on
Okay,
Burbank.
Bellamy. Yes.
Remember, I came from just 32 students from my class,
Yes.
okay, to like a high school environment, two-story school and switching classes and having to pick different types of classes and it was like a whole new experience. It was kind of like from when, it's just different. It was just different. So
Correct.
I
Okay.
really, to be honest with you, I really was not into school. I was more like, I just want to grow up and get out. To be honest with you, I did have friends, and yes, I did. You know, I,
Yeah.
and I know we talked about this before. Like when I started getting friends and stuff, we would do little house parties, where we'd go
Yes.
listen to music, go hang out,
Mm-hmm.
drink a little, little bit,
Okay, so
you
now
know.
listen. All right, Heather, now here we go. Now let me tell you, now that you've touched it, let me tell you. I used to go to house parties. Now in junior high, we used to go to house parties. Now let me tell you, because I lived in Pacoima, and that's where I was born and raised, and it's a small area. Okay, so when we were kids in junior high school, we walked to the parties. It didn't even
Mhm.
matter how far. We walked like in packs. Usually, I was the only girl, but I had a lot.
Mhm.
I was a tomboy, so I hung around with a lot of boys. So we would walk
Yeah.
in packs to the parties, and then when if it were
Yeah.
late at night, like maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock, we'd probably all
Mhm.
get rides. Okay, but
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, I went to a many house parties. I drank at a many house parties. Okay. I
Mhm.
had lots of fun. I mean, we don't even have enough time to scratch on how many house parties I went to. I had a wonderful time. As far as that part, I had a wonderful time in junior high school and high school. That
Mhm.
part, man, I had fun
Yeah.
all
I
day
think
long.
the best part of high school is your friends. I mean, that's how I looked at it, like friends and going having fun and
Correct.
laughing, and just having
Mm-hmm.
a good old time. That I mean, I really wasn't. The books and stuff. Unless I really liked a particular subject and the teacher, I was just like, get me out of here. And I want to go have fun. I'm just being honest. That's just how it was.
You're a
So,
mess.
yes,
You
but
are a mess. That's funny.
it was what it was,
Yeah.
So I got through it and I felt like, "Phew, okay, this is done. Now I can start growing up, grow up and get out. And then, when you get older, then you're thinking like, oh, if I'd go back, I'd probably do it a little bit different, but that's okay. I had fun, so it was all good.
Heather, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of things I would have did different. But then there's some I feel that were a
Mhm.
learning curve. So I don't think I would have
Yes,
did it different at all, even if it was a
yes.
bad experience, because I felt
Mhm.
like because of that bad experience, I have a lot of good memories now, a lot of things that I
Yes,
wouldn't do now that was solidified from back then. So,
of
I
course,
think
of
it's a
course.
good, bad, hey,
You know what? That's
I'll
part
take it
of,
for what it was.
growing up, right? Growing up. I mean, that's how we learn. Like my parents, oh, don't do this, don't go there, don't do this. And then sometimes, sometimes I'd listen, sometimes I wouldn't. And if I didn't,
Yes.
sometimes it worked out okay. Sometimes it was like, that was a lesson to be learned. I said, maybe,
Yeah.
sounds like my parents, they're kind of right on that. I'm not going to tell them that, but yeah,
Right.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah. I was gonna mention just something real quick. So, in the high school, we would have dances. Now, my parents would volunteer. The
uh-huh.
parents had to volunteer so many hours per year. Okay,
Okay.
towards towards the school. So, it didn't
Wow.
matter if you gave some money.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, you couldn't get out of it. You had to do it. So like my parents
Mhm.
would go chaperoning at the dances, right?
Oh,
And my
wow.
my mom's like, oh, I don't like chaperoning because I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that mom like going around the curtain or around the bleacher or something,
Yeah.
and telling you, hey, get out of there, because she was like my mom was like a cool mom too. So
Yeah.
she was just like, okay, kids are kids, they're growing up. I was a kid too, so she would be, but they would do it and they'd be walking around, her and my dad, and I'd be dodging them, like, oh gosh, oh, I wish they weren't here, but they were pretty cool, Yeah, but it's all
Oh,
right. So
man.
they used to have these chaperones, and stuff like that. But you know what? They were fun. I mean, it was fun to get together with your friends, have good music and dance
Yeah.
and
But
um,
remember, that's the way that it was before. That's the way that it
yeah,
was before. Before, you used to have to drop your kids off. You used to have to sign these notes. You had to really
hmm
participate in your kids' lives.
yeah,
So that's the way that it was before. You had to do that. And I'm not saying
yeah.
it's not that way now. I'm just more or less just comparing what it was to what it is now.
Right. It
So
might be a little freer, not as strict as
not as
probably,
strict now, but then there's so many things going on. It's a
there's a
little
lot,
different. Yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things going on, so it's a little different. It's a whole lot different.
Yes,
So now,
for
now,
sure.
now we can talk about how we were different as far as how we communicated, and that's one of the key things too. Now, back then we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have anything like that. We had house phones. We had
Yes.
pagers. Remember how the house
Yeah.
phone was, where the
Oh,
big deal
yes.
was it was only one line, and you didn't want your parents
Yes.
to be on there that long.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
because you just wanted to, yeah, you have to chat with your friends, different friends all the time. And I
correct.
remember in the
That's
kitchen
right.
having the wall phone, with the long
Yes,
extension cord, so you could like walk
yes. And we
around,
had,
get
and listen,
in a
you had a phone
tree.
all over the house, but it's still
Yes,
one line.
one line exactly.
One line.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you could be on the phone, and if somebody was
Yes.
crafty enough, they could pick it up and listen to the phone call.
Yes.
Okay.
And do you remember those things called party lines? Did
Yes.
you have that?
Remember, you would dial in these 1-800 numbers, and then you'd be talking to all these random people from all over.
Yes. And then you hear other people's conversations. Yeah, it was like really, yeah, it was pretty wild. Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Oh, yes. I
interesting. Yeah.
do for sure. I for sure remember the party lines for sure. I remember the party
Yeah.
lines. I remember that. Now, one of the other
Hmm.
things I do notice is that when we were in school, okay, when we were in school, remember how we were? We used to be real cute. If we liked somebody or if we kind of wanted to hook up, we used to write these little notes. Remember how we used to
Hmm.
do school notes? Writing school notes. I didn't care how old we were,
Yes.
even in high school. We still wrote school notes for our
Yes.
phone number, where we lived. Oh, I like
Yes.
you. I think you're
Yes.
cute. And I remember, I don't know about your school, but I remember during Valentine's Day, you could buy
Oh, you
Valentines
just,
with candies and
yes.
request them to go to different classes to the person you liked. Remember that?
Yes. Yes, but you know what? For all the different occasions, like St. Valentine's, for
Uh
all
huh.
different occasions, you could send like a girl or a boy could send, like a carnation or something,
Yes.
and so a lot of times I would get flowers and it would say the person's name and I didn't know who they were. Did that ever happen to you?
Really?
Yes.
No.
All,
Listen,
all
listen.
the
I knew who they
time.
were.
No, listen. So I had to go and find out. Like I said, hey, do you know who
Okay.
so and so is? Like one, I was just a freshman, and the senior guy, he was a big football player. I
Uh
guess
huh.
had a crush on me, and I didn't know. I guess he
Ooh.
had seen me on campus walking
Had
around, and
admirers, darling.
yeah.
Admirers,
So I
darling.
yes, and I had a all the time, and I would say, "Who's that? I don't know who's." And then I would be like, "Yes, sir," all the time. And so I'd have to find out because, of course, I wanted to go up to that person. I wanted to thank them, right,
Mm-hmm.
for for the flower, for the thought, and chit chat with them. Sometimes, usually, to be honest with you, most of the time it was just like we would just strike up a friendship kind of thing. For me, it was just, so it was just, I mean, it was nice that they did that, but it wasn't like a spark of something, love in the air or anything like that. It was more friendship.
Well, you know what used to happen after that. Now, remember when we got into high school, I think one of the things that's a lot different now. And I'm not going to say in high school, but I'm just going to say all around is that dating. Before we used to date. We really used to date, meaning that you would meet somebody you like. You guys might make a date to go to the coffee shop, or you might go to the movies. We started out small, and then we didn't
Mm-hmm.
get into dinners until a little bit later. You know, it was a little different then. But then when we did date, keep this in mind: we actually went out. Remember, there were no cell phones. So you had to have conversation and you really got to know that person. You had to get to know them because you had to talk, you had to communicate. So much different than it
Right.
is now.
It's very different than now. And, when I started dating, oh my gosh, Tara, I had to have my mom come with me on dates, like when I was a little older. And
Uh-huh.
because my dad said, no, you have to, she can't go by herself, um, you know, you The movies were no. So that happened, a couple of times, and I was just like,
Uh-huh.
oh, because then mom would be the third wheel, and
Yeah.
my mom, I love my mom. She's no longer here. Man, she is a talker. She would just blah 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 blah. Not in the movies, but if we went out to eat or something, you'd be going like, "Oh my gosh, please,
Yeah, and you
this
just
is
wanted
my
to be the
place."
chaperone.
Yes, I just look, just be like the fly on the wall, Just
Hmm.
yes, I love my mom, but she was a good person. But we did that sometimes, and then at one point, my mom's like, told my dad, "That's it. This is, things are done different here in America, because we're Hispanic culture, from Cuba,
Hmm.
and they did things different over there." And she goes, "These are different times, and this is America, and I'm not chaperoning anymore. So we just have to meet the boy. He needs to come over here and visit, right? You
Yeah.
know." And of course, my dad would always read them the third right, of, how precious I am and blah, blah, blah. And if I didn't scare the guy away, he'd stay and take me out. If not, I probably wouldn't see him after that date. And that's just the way it was, Sarah, And in a way, it was kind of like flushing out the ones that had something else in mind, right? Yeah.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
yeah, my
And
dad,
it's
I
nothing
mean,
wrong
I
with
was.
that. That's your parents just protecting you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They have the right to do that.
They do. And in a way, you know what? I mean, as an adult now looking, I respected them for that. Now even more as an adult because you really need to be careful who your children go out with. I mean, not just
Correct.
dating, but even friends. You have to be careful who your children surround themselves with.
And remember back in the days we could have sleepovers, we could have play dates. But I'm not going to say
Right.
we can't have them now, but you as a parent you really have to scrutinize because back then, once again,
Hmm.
because we formed relationships in high school or in school,
Yes.
we were solidified that way. Sometimes parents, new
Yeah.
parents, from when you picked up your kids from school, you started relationships like that. I don't know how it is
Right.
now. We used to be able to have sleepovers and play dates. I'm not sure
Hmm.
if people do that now. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, my parents too, they were very strict about that. They would rather say, okay, your friend can come over and sleep over here, that kind of
Correct.
thing. And then once my parents, got to know, like, let's say the parents, I had a very good friend, and she was always trying to invite me over. And then finally, I got to go for the first time, over there, and it
Hmm.
was a lot of fun. It's fun to have sleepovers. You can stay up
Yeah, I thought they
late
were
and do,
fun. I had lots of them. I had lots of them all the time. I had more people sleep over my house than I slept over theirs. But when I
yes.
did, I did go to a sleepover one time. But girl, let me tell you. Okay, so when I was a kid, I used to be a bedwetter. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
when my friend had a sleepover, I was excited about it. But girl, I was scared because I was like, oh man, I hope I don't pee. Girl, I
Right.
peed over at their house. Okay. I peed in the bed at their house. But the mom was so cool. I snuck and I told her, and she helped me clean everything up while everybody was
Oh,
asleep. And then I
that's so
didn't feel
sweet.
embarrassed.
Right.
So
Oh, she was a nice mom. That was nice.
yeah, I didn't feel
That was very
embarrassed.
thoughtful of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
She made you feel
So
comfortable. Like, it's okay. It happens. It's all right. Yeah.
yes, girl,
That's
because I was
sweet.
embarrassed. And luckily for me, I brought extra underwear just in case.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, you thought of it.
Just in
Yeah,
case.
good for you. You planned
Yeah.
well. Yes. That's
Well,
good.
listen, back then, because social media didn't exist, we had to form relationships face to face. Sometimes
Yeah.
deep bonds. You know,
Mhm.
with no social media, sometimes with social media now, it's kind of hard to do that because everybody is focused on their phones all the time. Um, you don't. I don't necessarily know if you're always getting the genuine person because everybody's trying to portray something online. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with you because I think everybody wants to, well, they want to put their best foot forward, their best face forward, right?
Yeah.
And But there's a lot of people like that, so you just have to pick and choose what you watch, who you watch. You know, I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, I'm just true to myself. I mean,
Yeah.
what you see here, this is me. I don't, yeah, but I get it. Yeah, a lot of people, they want to, I don't know, be someone different other than they are, and that's okay. I mean, if that's your thing, but
Yeah. And I also think that people are trying to they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. A lot of times
yeah.
people they think that what they see on the internet is people's true selves. Like you said, they're putting their best face forward, but that's not necessarily who that person is. It's just it sometimes, not
Also,
everybody, it might be a facade.
right. And also who they want to attract, what kind of audience, what kind of people,
Correct.
what persona they want to put out there to attract certain types of people, maybe for the
Mhm.
content that they have, so yeah, so a lot of,
Okay.
and there's so much social media everywhere. It's just like, it's really
Yeah, I
overwhelming.
mean, you can't get away from it. Look at us. Look what we're doing. You can't get away from it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I do think that it has its positives. I do. But I do think that to me the negative is to forming strong bonds, forming real bonds. I'm not saying that that's for
Well,
everyone,
yes,
but
right. And here's the other thing, connecting with people, socially in person is different than just over
yes,
the phone or FaceTime. I
texting,
mean,
because a
or
lot of things
text.
get lost in translation with texting,
Yes,
right?
right, right. Yes, exactly. And then I think too, something that, I mean, based on like the youth and shows that I've seen
Mhm.
where teenagers or preteens, can get, bullying, bullying by texting or picking on somebody
Yes,
as an easy way to do it because you're not in person, and then you're just,
correct.
there's
Yeah,
social
that's what they
media.
call keyboard gangsters.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that exactly. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. People could be so vicious and so mean. And especially at that delicate age, when you're a preteen and a teen, you're going through changes and stuff. And, you know, you're just trying to get through puberty, trying to grow
that's
up.
right.
And
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. It's just a hard time now. Like I said, it's just a different time. People because of freedom of speech, people feel because there's a freedom of speech that you can say whatever you want. But I don't know, that's not necessarily true. So, but hey, everybody has their
Mhm.
own opinion about that. So I get it. I get it. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and switch gears and let's really get into what we want to get into right now, which is let's talk about a movie that me and Heather have seen as of late. A very, very wonderful movie. Now, this movie, folks, happens to be on Netflix. It is called Loving Adults. It is an hour and 46 minutes. This movie is generated in Germany, but of course, what they've done is they have it where you have the little subtitles, but everything will be in English. Now, the great thing about this movie is that this movie, folks, starts out in the middle. It starts out in the middle. Doesn't start out at the end. It doesn't start on the beginning. It starts out in the middle. And the first thing that happens is that you see a man that's hiding in the bushes in his car, while he's waiting for a jogger to come past. Now, this jogger, which we don't know who the jogger is yet, it is a jogger. He's waiting for her. And in the middle of the movie, but they show you in the beginning, the man comes out, he gets behind the jogger, he runs her down, he stops, tears run down his eyes, then he proceeds to put it in reverse, runs her back over again, then drives away. That's when the movie starts. Okay.
Yes.
Now, Heather, why don't you take us to the beginning? Not to take us to after that, where it starts after that.
Well, in the beginning with this husband and wife, so the wife is Leonora and the husband is Christian, and they have a son named Johann.
Correct.
So it looks like the husband has a very successful construction business with a partner, and his wife stays at home. Their son was sick as a small child and up through his teens, and the mom stayed home. And I guess she was, I guess at one time aspired to be a famous violinist, but she ended up staying, home to take care of her son. That was a conversation she had with her husband. But at the same time, is very interesting here is
Mm-hmm.
that I guess when the father does go to work one day, his partner starts telling him, I guess, about some audits going on with their books, I guess from their IRS.
Correct.
And so it comes to light where the father Christian, I guess, had done some finagling of the books to get some money, I guess, to pay for some medical services. And now they could be in trouble because if they look deep into the books, the father did, I guess, apparently took some money, right?
Yeah. Now
So,
let's
that being
also
said,
let them in on something. We
yes,
got
go
to let
ahead.
them in on something because not only are they having issues
Yes,
with the books, but the father is having an extramarital affair with his co-worker at this
yeah,
job.
yes,
Okay.
at
So he's
work,
also doing
yes,
that as well. So he has a lot of
yes,
activities that's going on. And what has happened is there's the coworker that he's having an extramarital affair with. She's making phone calls to him early in the morning on his cell phone, and the wife is starting to
mhm,
suspect that something's going on. She's not sure,
yes,
she's starting to suspect. She's asking him questions, she's wanting to find out what's going on with him. But wait a minute, let's go back because there's something that we didn't tell. There's something that we didn't tell. So there was a part in this episode where there was a work party, the husband's work party. Wife and the husband are going to go together. Now, keep in mind, folks,
mhm,
the husband is having an extramarital affair with his coworker. So, sometime within the party, the husband and the coworker whiffed off somewhere, whiffed off to an office room. Okay, one of the offices,
so now,
and
mhm,
they're actually up there having sex. Wife walks in. She doesn't say anything, but the young lady that he's engaging with looks her right in the eyes, looks her in the eyes. And that to me is what got the wife boiling
yes,
and what
straight in the
started off
face, just like,
everything else.
here I
Now, you
am.
go ahead, Heather.
Okay, so that happens. So, I mean, obviously the wife now knows. But
Yes.
so when this comes to light, he still tries to deny, that. But she said, I saw you. So she doesn't say anything that night. She's very quiet. He's saying, "Oh, you're so quiet. Oh, I'm just tired." Okay, so he, uh, so anyways, so she knows that she's done that. He confides in his friend that, he's in love with this girl. He wants to, he's not happy. And the friend's trying to be, well, how it was for me and my divorce and my wife, you know, it'll get better, I just have my freedom now. It'll be okay.
Right.
She'll be okay. And the husband's kind of concerned because she doesn't really have friends because she's all she's done is stay home and take care of her son. He's afraid that she
Right.
doesn't have the support that she would need. He would really
Right.
love to just, leave and start off this
Right.
relationship with this
Correct.
woman. So he ends up coming over and with the intent of breaking up with her, right? I think that's the next scene, Tara, if I have it
Okay.
correctly.
Yes.
And so he tells her, like, I think all these years we've been, pulling apart from each other, the thing with our son. I'm just, I want something different.
Yes.
And that's when she asked him about having the affair, and he's like,
Right.
he's kind of hemming and hawing. And
Mm-hmm.
then she tells him that she saw him, and that the girl was just straight up looking at her while they were engaging in sex. And
Correct.
she's mad. She is
Correct.
mad.
Correct.
So can't blame her. So
Correct.
yeah, so they know that. So here's the thing. This is where it starts getting a little juicier. So what comes to
Yes.
play here is that she starts talking about an agreement that they both had,
Ooh.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
agreement, yeah. So the agreement was when their son was sick, okay, uh, I guess, they were short of, they needed money, right? But the son also
Yes.
needed the care and he needed to be taken care of.
Yes.
The wife, in this conversation, she's reminding the husband of this agreement and saying, hey,
Mhm.
I offered to take on a job to help, pay for all this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
now you're telling me about wanting to leave. And when we had this agreement, you're okay. And I gave up pretty much. I gave up everything. My career, on a violinist. I could have worked. I wanted to do it
Yeah.
honestly, and then you decided to do fraud. And now, basically, she has him hanging by that, saying,
Yes.
I think I'm going to go ahead and tell the authorities before they find out, and then I get swept in this mess as well. I can come clean.
Yes.
And of course,
Correct.
that upsets him because he's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, And then he pulls. I guess he. I guess the son had some sort of spinal problem or something, and he had a procedure done. They don't really say specifically what it was, but the father, Christian, did some sort of procedure, like an outpatient procedure, to
Yeah.
help his son to get better. And so, here we go. I mean,
Yeah.
you made an
Yeah.
agreement. She's going to hold them to it because she's going to play that card, with
Well,
him.
now look at let's do this because we don't want to give them too much information. So now that that has happened, you guys have gotten all the background. The husband is cheating. He's having an extramarital affair. He has IRS issues. Okay,
Mhm.
and the wife is aware that he is cheating. Now, there's a lot of other little things in between that we could take that we're not going to tell you because this movie is really a good thriller and we would really
Oh,
love
it
you to go
is.
see it. Now,
It is
what
really.
we will tell you is this at the end of this movie, okay, when Christian's wife catches him cheating, okay, he realizes that there's a fine line between love and hate and that terrible things people can do when they're pushed to their limit. And I am going to tell you folks that at the end of this movie, this both of these people have been pushed to their limit and you get to see it all the way to the end and you will be very surprised of how the ending ends. We're not going to tell you that, but you'd be very very surprised on how the ending ends. Okay?
I
You'll
think
be
it's a great
very very
movie. I
surprised.
mean, I watched it a second time in between yesterday and today. I wanted to watch it
Yes.
again, and even after watching it the second time, I even liked it even more. It's just so many, like you said, so
Really?
many twists and turns. Yeah, I mean, I really, yeah, it's a really good movie. I thought
I
the
listen,
I thought
Heather, I stumbled across the movie just by accident. I think it was a wonderful movie. I could watch it again and again. It's a really quick movie, but it's very impactful and it's great. And they're stating that it's going to be a number two. But they said that
Yeah.
years ago. They
Oh,
haven't did anything yet. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, Loving Adults. It's on Netflix. It's an hour and 46 minutes. I'm telling you, it's a good movie. There'll be parts where you'll be like, wow, you can't believe the things that this husband and wife do together. Okay? Separately and together. You won't be able to believe it. You will not believe it. Okay? All right. So this is what we're going to do, folks. Because this is October, okay? And this is Breast Awareness Month. We wanted to make sure that we spoke with you about breast awareness and all the things that people should do in order to stay healthy. Now, because Heather has a little bit more experience with this, I'm going to give this to Heather. So, Heather, you go ahead and take this away and let them know.
oh, all right. Thank you. So, the month of October is always Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I usually at my office, we have weekly huddles. I usually will bring up what I'm going to say now because I like to bring awareness to this. First and foremost, I am a breast cancer survivor of 15 years. My mom was also a breast cancer survivor. And it's very important. And there's my mom and me. That's when I was going through my first round of chemo, where I had shaved my hair off because it was falling off. So it's the first inkling that my hair started coming out. I said, I told everyone I'm shaving it, and I did. And it was very liberating, I must say, low maintenance. So, but some things that are really important. One is to do at home monthly breast exams. Super important. It's a little thing that can make a big difference. You find something, you're not sure what it is, but it feels different, go have it checked. If it feels different and it's different from the month before and you feel something, go have it checked. The other thing is, depending on your age or what your background is, maybe if your mom had cancer or, on your paternal or maternal side, you have, women or men that have had some form of cancer, breast cancer, you should find out when you should be getting your yearly mammograms because prevention
Yes,
is key.
yes,
Prevention
very important,
is,
very important.
yes. And not only that, I also encourage going, if you're a person that's relatively healthy, you still should go and get a yearly annual exam. Touch bases with your primary care, get,
Right.
the standard tests, lab work, EKG,
Hmm.
whatever it is that they normally do. You really should take the time to do it because your health is number one. Your health
Yeah,
is what allows you to do the things that you love in life, okay, and be
yes,
here for yourself, for your family, and your friends, and for you to
yeah,
enjoy life. And catching
yeah,
this cancer early is very important because the sooner you catch it, the better it is, and the survival rate is much higher. Now, I can tell you in 15 years, because they spent so much time and money on cancer research, a lot has happened in these 15 years. So they keep making more and more advancements. So
okay,
um, yeah, so like I said, it's just a little reminder just to take care of ourselves and make
okay.
time to take care of ourselves so we can live the life that we love.
Awesome. Now listen, Heather, let's go ahead and show them a picture of you and Ray. Show them a picture how he supported you during your breast cancer walk.
Oh,
Okay, hold on.
definitely,
Let's
yes.
see. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that, folks.
Yeah, he got his haircut too. My oldest son at that time had shaved his. He surprised me. He came home with a shaved head, and he had really long hair, really nice hair, and he
Mhm.
surprised me too. So my husband, great supporter. I mean, you know, every step of the way, he was there to take care of me and help me
Yeah.
through the process. And forever indebted to him. You know, and then my mother too, she came out when she could. She'd stay like a month
Mhm.
and just take care of me and help Raymond
Yeah.
too, because Raymond had to work. So
Yeah.
she would help out a lot. So, and family and friends, emails, texts,
Mhm.
letters, cards, prayer chains. I mean, I was getting like, I picture my prayer group, I picture, and you know what? I had so much hope and faith. I don't know, with that support, I just felt it inside of me. I'm going to be okay. Even when I got the
Yeah.
diagnosis, it was
Yeah.
devastating to me. I got
Okay.
it. I'm going to beat it. And I got all these people surrounding me that are going to help me through it and encourage me and help me. So it was a
Oh,
happy
that's
ending.
sweet.
And mhm.
All right. So, folks, listen. Thank you so much for joining us for our second podcast of the Women of a Particular Age. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you guys have questions, you have comments, anything you want to share, please put it down in the comments. If there's something that you want us to talk about, please let us know because we won't know unless you tell us. Um, and listen, we appreciate you coming on the ride with us. Thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you guys again soon. See you
Thank
later.
you. Goodbye. Thank you.